Good afternoon, everybody. You're all very welcome to this lunchtime webinar. We'll kick off in a minute or two. The room is just open and people are starting to join us, so if you bear with us. But we're absolutely delighted that people are joining us this afternoon on a topic which I think has hit us all at some stage in the past and probably will in the future, be it with our own kids or whether as an aunt or an uncle of children. So it's great that we are able to host this afternoon. I suppose it's great too for the Cork Society to collaborate with our colleagues in Dublin, and absolutely delighted that we have Dee France from the CA support with us this afternoon, and she'll talk to us about the Thrive Wellbeing Hub that the Institute has. And then our main speaker of the day will be Karina Taoughlist, which will talk very much about getting teens ready for exams. And I suppose just before I introduce Dee, I just want to bring to attention, members may not be aware, but within the Institute we have a boot camp for senior cycle students focused at particular students in TY year. And this is very much focused at getting them ready for what accounting looks like in the real life. So it's an online course and it does look and teach the fundamentals of accounting and finance and how it applies in the real world. And for those of us that have had TY students in over the years, it always amazes me how much they actually get out of working in the real world and relating that to the theory they learn in school. And so it is a very much a great revision course. And Fiona's just put some details up there on the slide for us, but if anybody wants to find out more, please do reach out to Fiona and she'll send you all the details. Now, for our first speaker this afternoon, I'm delighted to welcome our own Dee France and delighted to collaborate with Dee. Dee is based in Dublin and she's a manager in the CA support, and she's going to tell us all about our Thrive Wellbeing Hub. Over to you, Dee.
Thanks so much, David. I'm absolutely delighted to be here, and it's fantastic to get in front of the Cork Society. That doesn't often happen very much. So it's fantastic, and also to see something like the teen anxiety being tackled as well. So as you say, I'm manager of Thrive, which is a new wellbeing hub that the Institute have introduced, which is fantastic. We conducted lots of research, and this is something that the members and the students are looking for. So it's great to see something actually come to fruition. So I'll just tell you a little bit about it. I'm not going to take too much time up. There's a lot of good stuff coming down the track. This is basically how we would, sorry, just 1 second, I'm on the wrong screen here. Here we go. There we go. Hopefully you can see that okay. So this is how we imagine the life cycle of our members. So they start off as students, obviously, and they go right through to retirement. And we've kind of highlighted those sort of pain points, if you like, that might happen along the way. And then we would obviously put some supports in place to tackle those. So obviously stress comes up. And family life comes up, and that's what we're here for today. But there can be lots of other things, sort of mothers returning to work or fathers returning to work, of course, midlife situations, looking after older parents, looking after, younger kids, whatever the case may be, and on into retirement. So we certainly try to help our members and our students along the way. So this is ultimately what Thrive will actually provide, our kind of key services, if you like. So initially you might get in contact with us and have a confidential conversation with one of the team. You might go on then to some professional counselling. So this is all free of charge. You can have 8 sessions with Leia Healthcare. In-house you can avail of the wellness coaching, and that's with one of the team. And that might be tackling something like, family nutrition, for an example, or, your sleep hygiene, what's going on there, are you getting enough sleep? Maybe stress levels. So you kind of do an audit of your well-being, and we put some supports in place and give you some good behaviours to take away. And then we have a dedicated team to support you, which is separate to the Institute, so you have that confidentiality in place as well. And then we run lots of events like this, in fact, mental health and well-being events. And we obviously have a dedicated website as well. So 300 pages, in fact, and we get out there as well on social media channels and in e-news and all the other channels that the Institute provides as well. So you can find us in different areas. Again, these are the webinars that we put out. So you might well have attended one of these. You might recognize some of the faces here. And there's also on the Thrive Hub now a new calendar of events. So you can actually go in, you can see the one here today. You literally just click on that and then register for whatever's coming up that tickles your fancy. Most of these are free, vast majority of them are free, but some of the CPD events will land on this calendar as well. So it's good to kind of get an overall picture of what's going on in the Institute in that wellbeing space. And this is how you'll find us on the main Institute website, Thrive Wellbeing Hub, the email address there and the telephone number. So I'm absolutely delighted to say thank you very much to David and to Fiona for inviting me along to say hello to you today. And please don't be a stranger, get in touch and we'll help you in any way that we can. So that's enough for me. I'll send you back over now to the main event. Thank you very much.
That's great. Cheers. Thanks very much for that, Dee. And I suppose I think it's nearly more important than ever that we do look after our own well-being, that our families and indeed our colleagues and teams and all around us, that even though we've had a horrendous 2 years, there's still lots of stuff going on and will be going on. So it's just, I suppose, important to remember that we do look after well-being. It's great to see an array of supports available, and even some of the webinars that I've taken part in over the last 12 months have been great and very diverse and different things. And like, it's great too, and even like this when it's recorded, so if you can't make it on the day or need to drop off for whatever reason, you can do it when you're having your own time out walking or whatever. So thanks very much for that. I suppose now over to our main event of today. And when I was reading Karina's CV, I was like, why wasn't Karina around in my day? There was nobody like that to help us along the way. We were just pushed out and told to do it. So we're absolutely delighted, Karina, that you're with us, because like that too, we all have been there ourselves. And again too, I think as chartered accountants and lifelong learning, we're constantly doing courses. And I did one myself last year and was absolutely petrified again and had an exam, and it all sounded like a good idea at the time, but it was quite stressful. And if I had this webinar last year, maybe I might have got through it a lot better. But anyway, delighted that you're here with us today, Karina. And Karina is an accredited life coach specialising in confidence building for teenagers. She helped teenagers take down their insecurities and to grow to be strong and resilient. And she's on a mission to support teenagers achieve their dreams and their goals and living life to the fullest. So she's an expert in teen issues and has over 15 years experience working in this field. And she's constantly researching and developing new techniques and strategies that fit in with teens and the ever-changing environment in which they operate. So Karina runs a number of her own courses in boosting confidence in teenagers and also offers individual coaching to anyone that needs it. Karina is French, but delivers her coaching in both Ireland and UK in English, which is great to know. So with that, I'm going to hand you over to Karina. And throughout our session, if you do have some questions, please do put them into the Q&A box and we'll deal with it at the end. So over to you now, Karina.
Thank you, David, for this presentation. Really nice presentation. And I wanted to thank you, Fiona, as well for inviting me today to deliver this presentation. So I'm going to share my screen with you and show you what I have. So here we go. So help your teens hit their exam with confidence. So as David said, my speciality is really confidence building for teenagers. And during exam time, confidence is just as important as anything else, because it is what is going to help them to study more efficiently and to sit the exams more securely. So I know David did a bit of an introduction, so I'm just going to quickly just say, I'm Karina. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being there today. And I am an accredited coach, and I am specialized in confidence building for teenagers. I created a warm, non-judgmental zone where they can become who they really want to be when they are like unapologetically themselves with me, which I absolutely love. And I recently cut my hair, but I don't have new pictures of me. So you have me with long hair on one side and with short hair on the other side. So what am I going to talk about today? Let's see. So first, I'm going to show you how to build confidence for the exam. So I'm going to show you a very important exercise that I always do at the beginning of my cycle working with teenagers. And I'm going to show you how to do it for yourself if you want to do it, but most importantly, how to do it with your teenager afterwards. Then I'm going to show you how to get motivated to study with another tool that I developed with the years and with my experience. And this tool is like one of the most powerful I have. This one usually comes towards the end of the coaching cycle, but you're going to get it today. And I'm going to show you a sample. I have one as well on my desk that I'm going to share with you. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about the importance of downtime, which means when you do a study plan, how you have to include downtime in it and why it's important. So let's start. That's the wrong one. That's the right one. So building confidence. So we're going to talk on how to build confidence during exam time, and I have a simple tool for that. So this is called positive affirmations, and how to turn your inner dialogue into a friendly one. So if I ask you, who do you speak the most to all day? What would your answer be? If you really think about it, who do you speak to all day long, most of the time? If you guessed yourself, you're right. You talk to yourself all day long. From the moment you wake up in the morning to the moment you go to bed, you're having thousands of conversations with yourself. You're commenting on what's happening, you're commenting on yourself. And actually, when you start realizing that, when you start paying attention to your inner dialogue, you can create a positive one. And that's what is going to help you build confidence. Because we're influenced a lot by our education, but what people say around us, by media, social media, and they tend to turn our inner dialogue into a negative one. We tend to just look at ourselves and pinpoint everything that is wrong with us. We tend to focus on the mistakes we make, and we tend to actually just put ourselves down, as simple as that, like a lot during the day. For example, when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, do you actually compliment yourself, or do you actually start pointing out everything that is wrong with your face? I am a human like everybody else. So first thing in the morning, I look at myself in the mirror too, and I'm going to put my moisturizing cream, wash my face, whatever, arrange my hair. And the only difference is actually I know to stop myself when I start being like, oh, and I'm like, no, don't be like that. Don't do that to yourself. You look exactly how you're supposed to look in the morning. So that's one example. And another one is, for example, when you make a mistake, like any mistake it can be, you start beating yourself down. You start kind of insulting yourself. Oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, I never manage. Why do I always do this? And it's the same. You actually don't catch yourself doing that, but you're actually just putting yourself down for something sometimes that is so benign as dropping a pen, let's say. Well, actually, you could just be like, it's okay, I'll pick it up, no harm done, you know. And how often do you actually just tell yourself, I'll just pick it up, no harm done, instead of, oh, I'm so stupid, I'm so clumsy, why don't I pay attention to what I do? So that's what positive affirmations are there to do. Positive affirmations are here to force actually positivity, because the default setting is often on negativity. So you need to at first force positivity until it becomes natural. So how do you do that? For example, you can tell yourself, I am strong, I am intelligent, I am capable. So those are like really targeted for exams for teenagers. Sentences they can tell themselves to feel stronger. And actually, it's something you have to practice on a daily basis. Like every morning, in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror, and instead of counting your wrinkles or your pimples, depends how old you are, you're actually going to start talking nicely to yourself and remind yourself you're great and you can do anything. So those are kind of random sentences. Maybe they don't work for you and they won't work for your teenager. So what I actually do when I am with a person one-on-one is that we list their negative self-talk first. So you make a list of the negative sentences you tend to tell yourself. The common ones I would hear from teenagers are, I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm not interesting, I can't do anything. So it varies the vocabulary, but the message remains the same. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. I just made a kind of a mock one here on a piece of paper. So you have your negative self-talk here. I'm going to stop sharing so you can see me better actually on the camera here. So you have your negative self-talk here, and you write the negative sentences. And then you have your positive affirmation here that are actually the positive of those negative sentences. The first one I have here, for example, is I'm stupid. Then I stroke down and put I am smart instead. And that's the sentence I'm going to tell myself, because I am smart, because everybody's smart. We're not stupid. We can learn, we can get better. Then this one is I can't do it. I can do anything if I work hard, because you have to be realistic too. But you strike down the negative one. This is not the truth. This is the truth. Those are lies you tell yourself to put yourself down. This is the truth. You are smart. You are capable. So this is to show you what it looks like if you do it on a piece of paper with your team. I'm going to go back to my presentation. Here we are. So this is the first part for building confidence, and it's a very simple exercise and it is so powerful. So at first, as I said, you need to do it on a daily basis. You need to really make the effort to write the sentences, say them in the mirror every morning, and then it becomes natural. What happens then is when you start talking negatively about yourself, you know how to stop yourself and correct it. Which is why I said, I say those sentences to myself too, but I know to stop them now because I've been doing it for many years. So, and I teach people how to do it. So I kind of have the hang of it. But we all have moments when we feel down, and it's completely normal sometimes to feel down, to feel negative. The only difference is actually knowing to stop it, knowing not to linger into it. So you push the positive first, and then that becomes more natural. Good, so I hope you got it. And we're going to move on to the next one, which is getting motivated. So studying is one thing, but being motivated to study is very important, and it can be very difficult. I'm working with some teenagers at the moment. Well, I'm always working with teenagers anyway. And a lot of them are like preparing for exams at the moment. So I'm really focusing on that with them. And the problem for them is not so much to have the study plan or stuff, is to actually get motivated. Get out of the phone and go work. Get out of the tablet or Netflix and actually open their book. So how do you create and maintain this motivation? And again, it works with building confidence and also lowering the stress and anxiety. So you build on your success by creating a success bank. And I'm going to show you how it's done. There's a bit of DIY involved with this one. So what is actually making you procrastinate, what is preventing them from going study, is that actually they have this sensation that it's not worth it. It's not going to amount to anything. It's not going to do anything for me. So they need a reminder that yes, it's going to help you. Studying is what you need to do. Studying is what's going to get you closer to your dreams. That's what I tell them all the time. Remember, when you study, you're getting closer to achieving your dreams. You're getting closer to reaching your goals. That's what studying is. And for those who don't like it at home, it's like you're getting closer to getting out of the house, because that's also that. You get your degree and you can live your life. So a success bank is a tool that I developed along the years, and it's actually super powerful because it's both an instant confidence boost, but it's also a constant reminder that they are great, that they did great things. So actually, how it works is that it's like any bank. You have to create an account. And to create the account, you have to put a deposit. And the more you deposit in it, the more you can withdraw. So it's very simple thing. So how I make it is that you start by making a list of your achievements. So in your case, you make a list of their achievements. You talk about everything they achieve. And sometimes they feel, oh, I didn't achieve anything. I didn't do anything. But actually, we always have achieved more than we think we did. The only thing is that we think an achievement has to be something so much more special than what it actually is, because we're influenced by the stories of great people we see everywhere. And what I have to remind people as well, is that when you read those stories, the reasons they are in the newspaper or in movies, it's because they are exceptional. We are normal people from everyday life. So we're not going to be Mozart and compose an opera at 12. And we're not going to be a genius who like discovered fusion or something like that, you know, like we're not Einstein, we're normal people. And us normal people, our achievements maybe are not worthy to be put in the newspaper, but they are worthy to still be mentioned. And they are worthy to be taken into account. And that makes us worthy people too. And an achievement, for example, for a mom can be that this morning, everybody was ready on time, got their breakfast, had their bag ready, and was in school on time. That's an achievement. That's a great achievement even. Back in the days for me was cleaning my car, because I was really neglecting my car a lot and I was traveling a lot and I was drinking those 2 liters bottle of water while driving, and I was like tossing them, like seriously gross, I know, but I was like tossing them on the back seat because I was always traveling alone. And so I had this kind of cemetery of like empty bottles of water in the back of my car. And for me, a great achievement was actually taking a bin bag and getting rid of all those plastic bottles and putting them in the recycling bin, of course. So this is an achievement as well, you know. And also, when you're an adult or when you're a teenager, you achieved a lot in your life. And if you go backwards, you realize you actually achieved a lot. For example, you went from primary school to secondary school, you passed a test, you made it to a team, and most importantly, you learned to walk and you learned to talk, and it took you a lot of time. And look how you do it every day perfectly now. And actually, there's a great analogy about learning to walk and to talk. They are the hardest things we've ever done. It took us like a lot of time to achieve them, yet we never gave up. Imagine if we give up on trying to walk or talk because we have the mentality of an adult who is defeated already. So no, when you're a kid, you don't ask yourself any questions. You need to walk. So even if you keep falling on your pampers, you're going to keep getting up. And also you get encouragement all around you. It's true that usually your parents, when you're trying to walk, they are really encouraging with you. So that's something to keep in mind as well. The encouragement around is like super important. So when you think of achievement, think of anything that for you was special. We don't care if it's not special for the neighbor or for the teacher or for the employer. What is actually special for you? What is something you did that you're really proud of? Then you put them in pieces of paper. So I have some here, So pieces of paper, and you fold them. And then you put them into a glass jar, like such. And it's good I have a colored wall so you can see. So I made this mock one for today. So you can see there is some paper here and they contain achievements. And actually what I like to do at the end of the coaching period with teenagers is actually they open the jar, they open all the little papers and they read them aloud to me. And then they make the top 10, let's say, of their achievements while we were working together. And that's a fun one to do. But what it does is when you make a list of your achievements, first of all, it's an instant confidence boost because you're being reminded that you did way more than you gave yourself credit for. All of a sudden you realize, oh my God, but I did all this and I never really took the time to acknowledge I did. Oftentimes, when we achieve a goal, we just move on to the next one. We achieve something and we don't take the time to celebrate ourselves. We just move on to the next task. So actually, this exercise is forcing you to take a pause and acknowledge you did something, which is so important for your confidence. Because if you don't acknowledge you did something special, you'll never feel that you are special. And then when you have this little pile of paper, you have to put them on a visible spot. So usually for teenagers, I say either the nightstand or your desk. So every time you start feeling down, you start feeling that it's too hard, you'll never manage, you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the capacity, you just have to glance over at your success bank, at your little jar. And these papers, this pile of paper is reminding you, you did all this and you can do more. There's nothing that is stopping you from filling it all up to the brim and actually having a second one. So that's what the success bank is for, is to kickstart your confidence and actually always have this reminder. So when you're feeling like you don't want to study because you never manage anyway, it's not worth it, why even studying, glancing over at the success bank, that's why, because you did all this. So you can do that as well. You can sit your exam and be successful. You can study and learn. You can improve at anything. The success bank is there to remind you of that. This is about the success bank. Okay, so now I think I just have, yeah, how does it work? So yeah, I was explaining you, it's the initial exercise that triggers the confidence boost, and then keeping the jar in a visible spot, that is a reminder for you that you can do anything. Then downtime and why it is so important. So a big part of studying time or exam prep is actually having a study plan. So I'll explain you quickly how to create a study plan and how to include some downtime actually. And yes, burnout is not only for adults, it's for teenagers as well. And I don't know if you're aware, but in a survey recently, it was discovered that 20% of teenagers will experience depression before reaching adulthood. This is so much, and this is so unacceptable. They are still children and they are experiencing burnout like adults. And when I see the amount of work they have, when I work with them, when I ask them about homework, about exams, I understand why. They are overwhelmed. There's so much that is requested from them. So they have to have downtime. But so when you do a study plan, usually you use like a calendar, like a normal calendar, okay? And you try to allocate, let's say, 2 hours a day that are like study time, during school time, of course. Then when you have the time between exam and school, you can study more. But you have your 2 hours that are study time. And every day, you know, you're going to spend 2 hours studying a specific subject. And when you have then the gap in between school and exam, you have your days of studying. So you're going to have like 2 hours in the morning studying a certain subject, 2 hours in the afternoon, 3 hours in the evening time. So it depends as well if your teenager is a morning person or a night owl. And that is very important because actually forcing a night owl to study in the morning is actually not going to work for them because their brain is not ready. It's not ready to consume the information. It's not ready to process the information. So I am a morning person. And I know I am most efficient in the morning, but if you ask me to do anything in the afternoon, I will be completely lethargic and unable to do anything. And that's the same for the people who are like night people. In the morning, they are absolutely lethargic and not able to do anything. So you have to respect that, and you have to always remember to check with them what times they feel they have the most energy and they feel the most accurate. And that's how you determine when they can study. So once that is determined, another important factor is as well, are they visual or are they auditive? You're not going to study the same if you have a visual memory or an auditive memory. So we're all a bit of both, but there's one that is the majority. For example, I am a visual person, but if someone tells me something, I'm not going to forget just because it was not written somewhere. I can remember something that has been said to me, but if I have to study to learn something, which I still do sometimes, I will read it. I will need colors. I will need shapes. If you're an auditive person and someone is just making you read and read and write, it's going to be hard for you to retain information because you need to actually listen to it. You need someone to say it to you. And for example, I remember when I was in college, my best friend was an auditive, she's still auditive, and I am visual. And studying together, the struggle of it all, because she was specialized in linguistic and I was specialized in history. She was trying to make me study linguistic with her orally, which was so not working for me. Well, actually, I was trying to show her my notes for history and make her read them, which was not working. And then when we understood that, she started making me look at her linguistic notes and how she studied linguistic. And I was starting to actually tell her my history like it was a story. And that's how we adapted to each other's memory. So you have to find out how they retain information the best, and you can test it simply by asking them to remember something. Are they looking for something they hear, or are they looking at something? So it's very simple. When you're trying to retrain to regain information, sorry, the word is not coming back to me. Are you actually looking for an image or listening to a sound? Very simple. Okay, so that's for the type of memory, and the study plan has to be done according to their, if they are morning people or evening people. Sorry, I'm getting lost in my thoughts now. Okay, so yes, so I was talking about burnout, and actually it happens more than we think, that teenagers arrive at the exam and they are like a steam cooker about to explode, because they've been under pressure early. They've been under pressure for weeks, for months, and they had nothing to release this pressure. They never had room to release this pressure at all. So arrives the exam and they are sitting there and they just explode because they just can't take it anymore. It's too much. So downtime guarantees them to actually arrive at the exam with minimum anxiety. There's always going to be anxiety before an exam, and it's normal. There's always going to be anxiety before anything important, and that's normal. Again, it's like with confidence. You have just to learn how to manage it. For example, when I am about to give a talk like today or any other day, I'm always nervous. I feel a bit shaky, but I know how to handle it and to calm myself down and give my best. Feeling nervous is completely normal. They're not going to come to the exam feeling like they are going on holidays in Alicante, because those are two very different things. So you need to make sure that they make time for relaxation every day. And so planning some downtime is actually ensuring your team doesn't burn out before the exam even starts. So they need rest and fun time to be able to process their learning and sit the exam as relaxed as possible. So how do we do that? So actually every day there has to be something that is either fun or relaxing. And it can be anything. The best way to release stress is actually to laugh. Laughing is very powerful. When you laugh, everything feels better. Of course, you can have a nervous laugh, but why do we have nervous laugh? Because the nervous laugh is there to help us disengage a bit about the situation and feel more relaxed about it. You know, like the laugh is like, everything is fine. So the nervous laugh is exactly what it is. Laughing, like crying, actually, it's not specifically linked to just one emotion. It's a release, actually. You know how we associate crying with sadness, but actually crying can be also out of anger. It can be out of happiness. It can be out of fear. It's not just being sad. Laughing is the same, but you want to laugh because you're happy. This one, it's the fun laugh. That's the part that is important there. So either going out, like getting some fresh air. If you have dogs, like walking the dogs, something like that can be really cool. Talking about everything else and anything else. So in Ireland, you love talking about the weather, talk about the weather. It's miserable today, it's beautiful today. Talk about the weather, talk about the provision for the weather. What's the weather going to be like next week? What do you think? So talk about the holidays you're going to take after the exams. What are they looking forward to do? Are you going somewhere? Are you traveling somewhere? Is some family coming to visit you? Like anything else. When I was doing my living cert, I remember with my mom, we took the boat 3 times to go to, I'm from the, like I said, I'm French, I'm from the south of France, I'm from Marseille, and we have a couple of islands that are out in the shore, and we have boats like from April to October that we can take to go to those islands. And with my mom, 3 times we took the boat to those islands, just, you know, for the boat trip. We didn't really, there was nothing to do in those islands, just to take a boat trip, and it was so relaxing. I loved it. And so I don't know if you can have a boat tour as well, but anything else. And we were not talking about exams. I remember that was an important point. We were talking about like everything and anything else, what job I was going to do that summer, things like that. So that's the important part. And they can also do what they usually do for fun. Like, of course, there should be less of it because they have to focus on the exam. There's an exam coming and they need to be ready for it. But what do they usually do for fun? Like, do they just have fun with their friends? Do they watch movies? Do they have an activity like a sports activity or artistic activity? So the important part here is to make sure it's every day, it's regular, the regular release of stress, you know? So it's not really the time to start a new one. Like, it's not the time to enroll them into yoga, for example, because they have to learn a new skill. Well, actually, their brain is really busy trying to, you know, prepare for exams and stuff. But like really what they usually do that helps them having fun, how can they do it during this period? Okay. So that's the next step for you. The first part is create the positive affirmation. I can't read, just a second. What sentences your teen needs to hear to boost their self-esteem? So remember, you do it with first the negative self-talk, and then you transform it into positive affirmations. Then the second part is to create a success bank. I love showing it. The success bank. So you list their achievements, they list their achievements, you do it with them, but they list their achievements, little pieces of paper in the jar, on the desk or on the nightstand. That's going to be the kickstart for confidence, like being reminded of everything they've achieved, and the constant reminder on the desk. They can do it, they can be motivated for work because look, I did all this, so I can do that as well. And create a study plan that includes rest. So make sure they do something fun or relaxing every day. I insist on that, every day. So I lost it. Okay. So how can I support your team? So it's not a sales pitch at all, because I'm not like that. It's just because I'm a coach specialized in confidence building. I wanted to show you I have 3 main services, which is the starter pack, which is just something you receive by email that you do on your own at home. There's an online course that is designed for teenagers, and they do the course online themselves, or of course there's the one-on-one coaching when I actually have personal sessions with your teenager and we work on their issues. And these are some teams I worked with recently. Kate is in junior cert and Milosh is in actually living cert, and the 2 of them I worked on exam prep with, and they are both very happy with the work we did together. Different age, different exams, same result. So thank you so much for listening to me, and I'm here if you have any questions. The floor is yours.
Karina, thanks very much for that and for sharing all that with us this afternoon. I'm actually delighted to know myself I'm not the only person that talks to themselves, and it's actually quite normal to talk to yourself. So that's good to know. I don't do it out loud, so maybe that's something. So thank you for sharing all that. I think all us adults will get something out of your session this afternoon. A couple of questions have come in, which I'll come to now in a minute. And I also note was interesting in terms of all our attendees, they've actually stayed on for the entirety of your session, which just goes to show that what you're talking about and the points you're raising are extremely important and interesting to them, you know. And I personally got a lot out of it, which I'll have to implement with my own 3 teenagers. You know, and it's interesting in terms of mistakes, we all make mistakes and we usually let them overpower us and overshadow us, and sure, the rest of the day is disaster because I did something which in the scheme of things is minor, you know. And I like the idea of the success bank as well, because again, too, you know, we sort of forget about them, and yeah, they're yesterdays and so they don't apply anymore. And it's good just to keep that. So, and as you said, the reminder of where it's visually there, where they can see it. So it does say, oh, well, you know, I have lots of successes and there they are in the jar. Actually, I actually like that, you know. I suppose the thing about burnout, because I would never really have considered teenagers to suffer from burnout. I personally myself would normally associate that with older people, you know, from work and things like that. So it's just interesting that you say it is, you know, applicable to teenagers and probably to watch out for that, you know. I suppose a couple of questions that have come in, if it's okay. And there's one there about, you know, in terms of the morning or evening person, how can one determine whether a teenager is a morning person or an evening person? You know, because I suppose an adult work morning and evening because we're going all the time in terms of getting them up and out ourselves, and then at night maybe having a bit of time to ourselves, so we're going all the time. But how would you work out whether a teenager is a morning?
During the weekend, what time do they naturally wake up at? Do you wake them? If you wake them up, it's kind of biased, the judgment, but what time do they actually naturally wake up at in the weekend is going to tell you. Like if they wake up at 7 or 8, morning people. If you can't get them out of bed before 2, evening people.
Okay, that's pretty
straightforward.
straightforward.
But you have to let them actually sleep and wake up naturally, and that's how you will see. But you can also ask them how they feel after school, if they feel exhausted or if they feel like full of energy, because even if school is tiring, they might feel like later on after dinner or something, like they have a boost of energy, like they want to do something, they want to be active. Evening person as well.
That's interesting, because I'd often, you know, hear just talking to adults, like if the kid is sleeping in late, you know, that they get quite stressed about that themselves. And then when the kid does wake up, there's lots of, oh, you're in bed all day and this and that and the other. So it's interesting to know sort of, instead of fighting against that, work with that and, you know, then put in the plan and have a study plan and all that.
That's
as opposed
a conversation I have with moms actually about that. Actually let them sleep because they are just not ready. And it's the weekend, so that's the only time they can actually be at their natural rhythm. And don't worry, because when the weeks come, they're going to go back into the school rhythm. But yeah, the weekend is their only opportunity to be themselves. Also, teenagers, they need more sleep even than children because of all the changes happening in their body and brain. Remember, the brain finishes to develop at 27. So, and they have all the hormonal changing. So even if it doesn't look like that, they are actually exhausted and they need more rest. So yeah, let them sleep, definitely.
Very good. Another question here, is there one or two things that, you know, adults should be doing with their teenagers on a daily basis, or ensuring that they're actually doing on an ongoing daily basis to sort of get them on track to be in that positive, upbeat, success type mode? Is there any one or two things we should be watching out for?
So for women or men, watch the way you talk about yourself, because the teenagers are going to, or even children are going to mimic it. So body image issues are hereditary, because if you grew up watching an adult always looking at themselves in the mirror and counting their wrinkles or the fat or whatever, you're going to think that's normal. That's what adults do. So for you, becoming an adult will be, okay, so I have to hate myself. So watch how you talk in front of your children about yourself. I grew up with a person that was very self-conscious about her physical appearance. So I had to really cure from that myself before becoming who I am now, because sometimes people think, oh, you're French, it's normal. No, it's not. Yeah. French women are also horrible with themselves, and they have to work on themselves too. We're just very, very good at hiding our insecurities. That's all. We're just like Chanel and all, you know, outside, but inside we're like, oh my God. So no. So I had to stop myself from like reproducing that. And I tell my best friend who has a daughter as well, like, be careful how you talk about yourself in front of your daughter, because, for example, her daughter has to wear glasses, and she's very excited because my best friend wears glasses. So, and she never complains about her glasses. So it's like, oh my God, I'm going to look like mommy. So you have to remember, Your son wants to look like you, the dad. Your daughter wants to look like the mom. So whatever you do, that's their model to become an adult. And teenagers would rather like throw their phone in the ocean than tell you that. But you're the most important person in their life, for real. They look up to you and they learn from you how to be an adult. So yeah, watch how you talk about yourself. And another one is congratulate them when they do something well, not when they do something like not good enough, but like when they really achieve something. Make sure you take the time to congratulate them and say this sentence: you must be proud of yourself, because you're teaching them to self-validate, which is super important. Growing up, you have to know how to validate yourself and not look for external validation. So instead of saying I'm proud of you, say you must be proud of yourself. And I say that all the time in my sessions with the team. When they're happy, I say you must be proud of yourself, and they're like, yes, I am proud, because it encourages them to be proud, you know. And that's something you have, is to have your self-worth actually increased.
Very good. Nice, good practical tips there for us adults too, as to what we do and how we act around our teenagers and our own behaviors and how that impacts them.
Now, we're humans, of course we make mistakes. It's just like catch it from time to time. Don't do it all the time. Of course, I'm not asking you to be perfect, because I'm not. Oh my God, nobody is, you know. It's just, you know, trying to catch it when it happens or to correct it, you know.
And so there's another question there too, in terms of if you have the relationship with your teen where it's quite fractured in terms of you're saying you're not studying enough, you should be studying more, get up to your room, get off that device, don't be doing this, don't be doing that. How do you go about trying to break that cycle in terms of that the relationship between the two of you becomes a bit better, that you can start to work with them and get them out of that cycle, as opposed to constantly conflicting with them in relation to, you know, get off your phone, don't go here, don't go there.
So yeah, I have this question as well from the moms of the teens I'm sorry, I say moms because most of them are moms, the parents I work with. I have some dads, but they are like less. There's one at the moment actually that is a dad, everybody else is a mom. It's actually create moments of bonding, like go have a coffee with them, just the two of you, and don't talk about anything conflicting. Don't talk about studying, don't talk about their grades or what they're gonna do for school. Talk about anything else, you know, like the weather or what you're gonna do this summer, or ask them about their hobby, what they like, or their dreams, but talk about anything else and make this moment just about you two. And again, I take it from experience with my own mom. We had a lot of conflicts, and then it changed when we started somehow bonding more, and we were going out, just the two of us, for lunch every Saturday. And she was talking to me a lot as well. I remember listening to her talking to me a lot more openly. And you just have to remember, you don't have to be super, you have to be human. And the more human you're going to be with them, the better they're going to feel about you, because sometimes they have such a high image of you, they don't know they can be vulnerable. So if you're being vulnerable with them, they're going to feel so much closer to you, because you're not going to be this high being anymore. You're going to be more reachable, you know? So even like if they don't want to talk about your own life, your own dreams, your own aspirations, they're going to love listening to it. They're going to love feeling that you're connecting with them.
Good. That's great. Yeah, good. Again, practical tips and advices sometimes, because again too, like, you know, when you're with your teenagers, I just know from my own experience, sometimes in the morning you're going to school and you're under pressure yourself, and an email might come in and you're distracted by that and you're not listening to them. And you know, so just in terms of you taking the time out with them when they're not under pressure, you know, and so just listen to them and chat and talk, yeah, because invariably, because we all are busy, and invariably when we are with them on a daily basis, it is coming or going from somewhere, or you're going to collect them, and you know, you were sort of late, maybe collecting when you were late, and just into the car, then it's just to start off, you know, just to try.
I really like this frantic.
Yeah.
Good moments, you have to create them. They never come on their own. Like you have to create them.
Yeah, in terms of taking some time out.
But yeah, I know. I mean, teenagers, like, they are difficult to deal with. They can be frustrating, but it's because their life is difficult and they are frustrated. You know, that's very as simple as that.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's good. Yeah, no, there are just the couple of questions that have come through there. Again, just thank you very much for this afternoon and sharing all that with us. And I think as adults too, we get a lot out of ourselves as well as with our teenagers. So thanks very much for that, and thank you for taking the time out to be with us and sharing all the details with us there. I suppose just before
I loved it. It was really interesting to talk like to adults. It's rare for me, so
not at all. Thank you for coming along. I suppose just before we finish off, and I know it's 10 to 2, and I suppose we'll all want to get a bit of lunch and whatnot before we get back to the real world. And for some people that may have to go and collect children from school and teenagers and all of that before they all come back into the house.
If anybody would like to contact me in private to ask me more questions, they can contact Fiona, and she has my details. So that's no problem at all. If you have other questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
That's great. Thank you for that offer, Karina. Just before we do sign off, folks, just want to mention a couple of events we have coming up. On the 11th of May, we have a networking evening, which will be in the Miraborough Hotel, and hopefully, weather permitting, we might have a bit of that outside. So that's just something to mark in the calendar. Fiona will be sending out details in due course, but that's a networking in-person event in the Miraborough Hotel. And if our event 2 weeks ago, where we had the Daffodil Day lunch event to go by, that will be another huge success. And it's actually great for us to be able to meet again in person and chat to our colleagues in networking, because I know we all really have missed that over the last 2 years. That's something to push into the calendar. And another outdoor event on the 26th of May is our annual Golf Society event as well. And again, Fiona will send out more details of that in due course. There are just 2 outdoor meeting events that are coming down the track as we head in towards the summer. But as always, if there are any topics or anything you'd like covered, please do reach out to Fiona. We're more than happy to put on whatever people really want, because I suppose like there's lots of stuff happening, and we're trying to get a mix of good events, be they technical, non-technical events like wellbeing like this, and all the outline that in terms of the Thrive Wellbeing Hub that Dee outlined and stuff. So it's important for all of us to, if there is stuff that we're not doing that people would like to see, please reach out to Fiona and it'll be organised. So with that, I'll just sign off for the afternoon. Thank everybody again for taking part, for Dee France for telling us all about the Thrive Wellbeing Hub and where to find all that good information and how to reach out. To Karina for her very insightful, and to Fiona, as always, for getting us all together and hosting this. So thanks very much, everybody, and enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.